It's no secret that babies make a lot of noise. But what they're trying to say, that's not always so clear. From crying and babbling to baby's first words, there's so many speech milestones during the first year of life, and plenty we can do as caregivers to make sure that development process goes as smoothly as possible.
I love you. I love you.
But I can't promise you no crying. Crying will happen. When a baby is born, their vocal cords measure around 2.5 millimeters, which is tiny compared to us adults. When my oldest would sneeze, it sounded like a cartoon. It was not real sounding. But those cries were a lot louder.
So crying is a distress signal. But as you go across the first year, the frequency of crying tends to get even lower, and it tends to get replaced with what we call whimpering. So crying, is whale crying, and whimpering is, right? And these fit into a kind of a package that often is coordinated. The baby will do both. They'll start with whimpering and then go into crying.
But babies are also making a lot of noises we hardly notice. Sometimes they sound like transformers. Sometimes they're just bubbling. I love all of it. I could listen to them all day, especially since I learned those little noises have a name known as protophones.
They produce squealing sounds that are very high pitched. They produce growling sounds that are very low pitched. They produce lots of sounds in the middle. They produce loud sounds, quiet sounds. They whisper. They even produce ingressive sounds sometimes. What the baby is doing, I think, with all these protophones that they're producing is they're exploring, we might call them auditory objects, that they can control. It's as if they're exploring everything that the vocal apparatus can do.
But then after the protophones and the crying, something magical happens. You hear a laugh!
Laughter doesn't really tend to occur until close to 4 months for most babies. So there's a delay in its onset. And when it does start, it's really, really, really infrequent.
It's addictive. Once they laugh, you are chasing that laugh down. Oh, you can laugh now? I want you to laugh all the time. And then like a couple of months later, the laugh happens again.
If you've seen people playing peekaboo with a 7 or 8 month old who is really into the game, you may see just peals of laughter from the baby every time the parent says peekaboo. They duck down and peekaboo, and it's so enchanting. I mean, people watching YouTube videos of babies laughing like this cannot inhibit their own laughter. They have to laugh with the baby under those circumstances.
Yeah.
But nearing the second half of baby's first year of life, something really amazing happens. The noises they make start sounding closer to words.
Yeah.
Well, sort of. This is the start of babbling.
The baby explores an awful lot of stuff in those first 6 months vocally. The baby's mind is organizing itself with regard to the control of all of the things that are controllable vocally. The first thing they learn to control is the phonatory system. So the vocal folds themselves, they have to learn how to hold them tightly and create the right subglottal pressure, and then they start vibrating. They need to sort of grasp how that can be done and the various modes in which it can be done. That creates the source energy for what will ultimately be speech.
And OMG, my twins were babbling so much. They were just feeding off of each other. It really seemed like their climb to speech happened a lot faster than my other kids.
At some point, after enough of that experience, I think something self-organizes, and suddenly they realize that could be wah, right? And wah is a canonical syllable. Of course, they're hearing things that are being said during that period also. By the middle of the first year, we have pretty good evidence now that the babies have actually learned to recognize a few words and to associate them with objects, for example. If it's a common word that the child has been hearing, they may well tend to systematically look towards the object that has been named.
Can you say ball?
Ball.
By 9 months or before the first year is up, most babies have said their first word. Mama was one of the first words for all of my kids. Then Dada was right behind. Then they learned no. And that became a little less fun.
No. Yes. No.
Of course, not every baby develops at the same pace or meets language development milestones in the same way. But no matter the baby, there are certain things we can do as caregivers to encourage their healthy development, like baby talk. Nicky baby. Mama, Nicky baby.
I think that baby talk is a terrific thing to do. Why it's a good thing to do is actually kind of tricky, because it could be that the primary thing it does is not to highlight the stuff the parent is saying, but to just arouse the baby to engage in the interaction. Personally, I would do it whether I had any literature-based reason for doing it all, because I think the most important thing that happens between parents and their babies is this sense of nurturance that gets developed. The baby needs to know that she's being nurtured. All the things that we want for our children are presented when we engage them playfully and joyfully.
Thank you for watching Seeker Baby. I'm Angel Laketa Moore, and I hope you're learning as much about babies as I am. If there's a baby topic you want us to cover, leave us a comment and keep coming back to Seeker for more on babies. See you next time.